All right, so the Wengen Lauberhorn, it's one of the classics. It's been around forever. I think this year is the 70 something, maybe 78th running of this race. It's one of the most difficult on tour as well. It's usually runs about 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. And this and I'd say Bormio are probably the toughest races on tour. This one's really fun though. It's got a lot of different elements, a lot of like classic parts of this course, but it's a really fun weekend too. They usually have a really cool air show and fly these jets around on the day of the race, and so there's a really good atmosphere. A lot of people come out to watch, and it's a real leg burner, really tests your fitness. But kind of going through the course, you go out of the start, usually it's nice and sunny, you push hard, and top section's pretty glidey. You go out of the gate, you make a big kind of left-footed swinging turn, which brings you onto the first road, and then after that, it's pretty much 40 seconds to the first interval of just trying to maintain your speed. You got a couple jumps, you got the Russi Sprung, then you got a couple kind of gliding, just fast, high-speed turns up there. Another little jump, and you come into the side hill. And you really want to carry your speed across the side hill, going into what we call like the carousel or the big C turn. And you pretty much go like 180 degrees. You come in, you're carrying good speed off the top, and you loop it all the way around to really slow down before you go off the Hundshof. The Hundshof is basically this huge cliff and a gate and a big A-net, and you kind of split the distance, basically jumping off a cliff, landing, and then you pick up speed really fast again, coming into the kind of a right-footed double gate that's usually pretty rattly, and you come through that. That's the Michicante, and then you make a big sweeping left-footed turn, which is usually a fall away, little bumpy, swing all the way around. That's Canadian corner. Come screaming out of that into what's one of the most famous parts of the course, I think, is the corner of this turn. You basically are tucking down this road, and you come into it, you're just facing right at the fence. You have nowhere to go because there's a net on your left, like rocks and dirt and snow on your right, and it's two 90-degree turns. So you come in, you're staring right at the fence, and it's called the chicane. You go make a really quick left-footed turn, really quick right-footed turn, and there's no gates there because you just have to avoid the two huge nets. There's like a huge net on one side, a bridge on the other with like a big airbag. You kind of have to zeke through there, and then you lose quite a bit of speed, and then you go down a road, and you start to pick up speed as you dive over. And you go underneath the train tracks. And again, there's no gates. You have to just go underneath. You have to aim for the tunnel. You come out of there, and that's about minute 30, minute 40 seconds in, and that's where you really start to feel your legs, because the top it's a lot of holding your tuck, a lot of high-speed turns that you're trying to stay aerodynamic for. You come through the next section, we call that the Super G turns. Pretty fast, usually pretty dark, fairly rattly. Got a couple turns you gotta just execute and really carry your speed through there. Usually that's not shown on the World Cup footage, because they have 2-minute intervals, so they have to have 30 seconds of the course it's out. That usually gets dropped off, even though it's one of the most technical parts of the course. Then you come out of the Super G turns into the Honigsschuss, where you really pick up speed. I've been clocked there at 97 miles an hour. You get going fast, come screaming out of that. There's a little compression. You gotta there's a ton of room in inspection, but when you're going that fast, really things starts to stack up. You make a big right-footed turn into another left-footed turn with a jump, and by that point your legs are pretty much shot. You got a bunch of terrain. It's kind of in and out of the sun and shadows. And you come into what we call Stump Alley, which is just his last 3 turns before the finish. It's just really kind of odd, off camber kind of turn coming in. Your legs are really tired, but you try to drive through into one of the sharpest turns on the course, and at that point you've been skiing for 2 minutes and 20 some seconds, and you got to make these really dynamic turns. Then you fall off the end of the course come through the finish. That's usually rattly, and if you've made it, you've had a great time out on the Lauberhorn.